difficulty in lifting their feet up high enough to be able to get up a 4 to 6 or 8 inch curb to get to their homes, to get to their stores, to get to their medical appointments, to get to the buses. This is something that is necessary for all of our senior citizens to be able to have good, safe paths of travel. Not just those of us in wheelchairs. We are not the only ones that use these curb cuts. It's also those parents with their strollers, those seniors pulling their groceries in the carts and other things. We need to have good, safe paths of travel. As far as I'm concerned, and I think for many of our seniors, a safe sidewalk is just as important as fixing a pothole in the street.
Thank you, Ben. And just to acknowledge your comment on infrastructure throughout the city is aging in various parts. It affects our most vulnerable pedestrians and those who travel by wheelchair. That's definitely understood, and that priority is important. And as you're hearing here, there are a lot of priorities. All of them are priority ones in somebody's heart. And so our job is to balance what little resources we have and be sure that as many of these priorities are met in some magical formula. So thank you for your comment. Who else had their hand up? Can we go here? And then we'll go in the back, and then we'll go this way.
Thank you. My name is Coach Lowe. I'm from the Senior Center, and I would like to say our quality of life is in our health. If we don't have that, we're in trouble. Every day, 5 days a week, we have at least 100 people use our fitness center at the Senior Center. We have classes. A lot of our people are in our classes. I have some of my help that's here, that's sitting there, some of the people in my classes. We're here. We need our fitness center. We need that senior center. There's so many things that go on in the senior center. Come over there and check us out. I was born and raised here in Long Beach. I've been here all my life, going 67 years. And for you to say closing our doors at the senior center, you're taking away our quality of life from us. That's our health is our wealth. And we need that. We need to step to the plate and not allow this to happen. And join in as a group, as a team, and get this done for us. Don't kick us to the curb. We paid our dues. We're baby boomers, and we're not liking what's going on. And we're here to say something about it. And most of all, God bless everybody. And keep the doors open to the senior center, and let us have our quality of life, and that's through fitness. Fitness is our quality of life, our health. That's worth all the money in the world. Okay? God bless everybody.
Coach, thank you for your comments. And none of this has been discussed yet, but just out of curiosity, and for all the meetings that you'll go to later throughout this process, I'm curious if there's any discussion amongst seniors, and I should be asking Rita as well. Is there any discussion about possibly paying 50 cents or $1, anything like that? Because and not that this is my recommendation or anyone's recommendation, but if there are drastic cuts because there are no other resources identified, that's something that I think all constituents have to think of. Youth pay a certain amount for access to pools, things like that. So we don't have to have that discussion now, but just I'm curious if that's come up in the advisory groups. It has. Okay. Okay. So most of the individuals come 5 days a week,
yes.
So that one-time charge accumulates.
And it's almost $600 a year, and no, they won't pay for it.
No, people on very limited income. So it's important. It's just important for me to know if that discussion's out there. Let's go to the gentleman in the back in the white shirt. Brock, can we take the mic all the way to the back? Right there.
All right. I just want to pose a question, that's all. I came out here in 1961, and everything was going fine. What has changed? has changed. Why don't we have tax money? Because there's not enough people paying taxes. There's millions of dollars being spent on people who aren't even Americans. Where is our tax money going? It's not going for people who served in the military like myself, worked 40 years in this country. What is the big difference between now and 1961? Will somebody please, where is our tax money going? Will somebody please tell me?
That's a great question.
And to do something about the senior center is absolutely criminal.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Gross, can I have you give sort of an analysis, not that you would know decade by decade what's historically changed, but certainly, you know, employment trends, you know, retirement trends, and you're looking at me like, but I think I've heard you give a response that captures a couple of decades.
General funds are good anyway.
We have had a number of things happen, and I actually can't go back to 1960, but the pattern that I'm seeing in my time here is that we have had a lot of changes in the tax codes, and there is very little ability to control taxes at a local level. A lot of what you're talking about is a state level, but I think this meeting is about the senior centers and the parks that are provided by local dollars.
Long Beach, sir.
Pardon me?
I'm talking about Long Beach.
That's what I'm talking about.
Right here.
Yes.
What the hell we got a general fund for? That's how we lost our Social Security. It's all in there. It's for people like grab. Why don't we itemize everything? This much, like he said, for the police department, this much for the fire department, this much for the seniors. We'll know what's going on. Itemize everything. General fund don't mean nothing to me.
We do, well,
It's just
it's a good point, and we do itemize, and we do break out what we spend on the police department, which is 50% of the budget, and that is printed in the budget. In general, what is happening is that those percentages, while they're staying the same, the amount of money available is decreasing and the costs are increasing. And that's been a pattern for years and years and years.
We're going to go to the next question. Sir, let's not be disruptive. I know you're passionate about this just as everyone else is, but there are others that need to have an opportunity to speak. So Ron, let me go to Ron.
Legitimate questions.
This gentleman wants to know what happened since 1960 and current, right? 1960, the city had Tideland funds that we had all kinds of money. We were rich.
That's right.
Okay?
Ron, let's keep control of the meeting.
You know, we have younger people over here and young adults over here, even senior citizens. Senior citizens know what we did when we grew up. Okay? We didn't have park situations like this. We had a park but no facilities to go to have different things. Kids know what to do. If they can just get together at somebody's house or whatever, they can play, okay? The younger adults, skateboarders or whatever, there's a lot to do out there.
Sure.
There is a lot to do out there. And senior citizens, I'm a senior citizen myself. I'm a card carrier. So I know what it is to be a senior, and I know that and I've been to the senior center several times. And I know that it's a good place to go to. But when we're out of money, you have to come up with some other idea to continue on what you want to do. And that's basically what everybody in our household does. When somebody loses their job or whatever, we come and get, we work it within our budget. So that if we don't have any money, we have to find things to do that don't cost any money and can do things without the entitlements that have been going on for years and years and years.
Thank you, Ron. Okay, Brock, can you go to the mom over there?
Well, thank you for listening to me.
Can you remind me your name again?
I'm Shirley. And the first time I came, I did not have my son. So this is my son, Federico, who's 6.5. And, I find it so frustrating because I love this park. I think what we do for senior citizens at this park and 4th Street Senior Citizen Center is genius. I utilize it. I get my taxes done there. I know you from there. And it's just a brilliant place. So that's one amazing point that should never go away. We love our seniors. My mom's a senior at 78, and she's very active, but she doesn't have anything close to what we have on 4th Street. In the meantime, I have a 6.5-year-old, and we've been fighting to keep New City School open for the same irritating, annoying, frustrating reasons. It's called redistribution of wealth. So we are ready to cut programs for our children and for our seniors. But we have layers and layers and layers of bureaucracy that I find to be really frustrating. And we know that there's been such a redistribution of wealth, and the middle class is gone. It has gone bye-bye. I am an educated person. I moved from Los Angeles. I've seen the growth of this park. We now have a farmer's market. It is genius. It is genius. Finally, we have a senior citizen program Wesley's very active in. It's beautiful. I've seen it in effect. The children and I, if you take a moment before you leave, we put in a garden with no budget. It was my time and my budget, because it makes a difference to the exposure of children. They need to learn about sustainability. They need to go to college. They need to learn about art and music. These are the kind of programs they're cutting for no reason. We need to remember Suja, who I adore and I voted for. Openly, I will say that. I'm very political. I'm a government major in college. They work for us. We need to partner up and become an alliance and become community again. We have lost community, you guys. I don't know where the community's disappeared. Everyone's got their agendas. We've got the mortgage lending industry, we've got the banking industry, we've got people with percentages of wealth that are beyond what it should be. What has happened to community and working together? I don't understand why we need to cut the children's programs at the park and the senior citizens programs. It doesn't even add up. And we have layers and layers and layers of bureaucracy. I'm a government major. I came to Long Beach working Mayor Ernie Kell's mayoral campaign, if any of you go back that far. Okay, and we got him elected well, and then I knew his wife, and so forth and so on. And we need to take and become activists again. We can't just sit back at our homes watching television and saying, we got to let someone else do this. We just did our ceremony, our closing ceremony for 50 kids for our camp. It's a free camp for children who happen to be of every color, every age. High schoolers get community service hours to graduate from high school. It's a beautiful program. We have blacks, we have Indians, we have Anglo-Saxons, we've got mixtures like myself. I'm a mixture. And I don't understand why we have the layers and layers and layers of bureaucracy who are making 100G and more, but we've got to cut the seniors and we've got to cut my son's programs.
Shirley? I'm sorry. Thank you. No, thank you. And I appreciate that. And I think there are a lot of messages in what you're saying, and getting back to community and not pitting one group of community against another is really a thoughtful advice and comment. So let's go to the woman in the back in the green.
Yes, you can go.
Straight.
My name is Kay Kender, and I volunteer at the Senior Center. I donate 120 hours a week. Now, in defense of people saying that you're cutting the programs, where are the people that are able to volunteer? I volunteer, and it saves the Senior Center money, and there's a lot of people that are able. I'm healthy, thank God, at my age, but if they can't do anything, we should help them with their programs, with the craft class, the fitness center. Get some volunteers to help them, and they keep it going. So it's not up to the city, to pay for those things and threaten to close it. Let's get some volunteers that are 60 years old and sit home, watch TV and stuff. Get over to the Senior Center. Absolutely. Have a lot of fun.
And I think you and Shirley are saying the same thing, which is really help the community and do what you can. Can we go to the gentleman in the front?
Hi, Don Hafner. I agree with all of the concerns stated here tonight, and it leads me to a question. You stated that we have a lot of long-term commitments to pension benefits. My question is, what is the earliest retirement age for our firemen and our policemen? And would it not help the situation to raise the retirement age in the long term?
So I believe the earliest retirement age is 50 for our public safety officers, and that's different from any other public employee. And that's the earliest that they can take it. As far as raising the retirement age, because those are bargained for arrangements, contracts, they have to be mutually agreed upon, so that can be discussed in bargaining. And I want to share that both the fire and police departments, the employees have come forward with a new tier of retirement system for new employees that will save the city tens of millions going forward over several, I think a 10-year period initially is the estimate. So they have done their part in ensuring that going forward, those adjustments are made. And we're still waiting for our largest group to do the same or do what they feel they need to do to represent their membership. But we're in discussions, and they're healthy discussions, and that's where we are right now. But we cannot unilaterally raise the rate or change any part of that formula.
Let me add to that too. In the negotiations that recently happened, we looked at that. We looked at going to 2 at 55, and what we found was the vast majority of the police officers and firefighters weren't retiring until after 50 anyway, so there was a negligible return to the city on pushing for that, and there was a far greater return to taxpayers than some of the other concessions they made. But we did look at it. It's an excellent question, but there wasn't a lot of savings there.
Thank you.
Can I see a show of hands again? I've lost track. May I go to the lady in the orange right there, and then we'll go to Dave Clements, and then the lady in the black t-shirt in the front.
I'm very pleased to be here tonight. My name is Connie.
Connie, can you hold the mic straight to your mouth? That way? Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
The Senior Center of the 4th and Orange is a beautiful and brilliant place for people to go, and it's a refuge for people. And we're like one big happy family. The women that run the place, they do an amazing job. If you take that away from the people, where will the seniors go? And they'll just sit in the house all day with nothing to do, just wait till they die in front of the food tube. We need to have that senior place open and be there always. And also with the after-school programs with our kids. You need to have the supervised after-school programs. You know that the gangs are right there to try and get new children and to be gang members. You know that the drug dealers are right there to try and get our kids with drugs. The human trafficking people, they're right there to get our children to be sex slaves. And how many children all the time are being murdered all the time, every day, every hour, all the time. You need to keep these after-school programs. You need the supervised programs. And that is what I have to say. Our seniors come first, and our children come first. God bless you all.
Thank you, Connie. And Connie, I want to thank you for withstanding a 4-hour council meeting when you last came to that council chamber, so thank you for that. Dave?
Thank you, council members, DeLong. My name is David Clement. I use this park on a regular basis to play soccer. I also use the senior center with our neighborhood association, NABA, North Alamitos Beach Association. And we see the seniors, they're using the center. They're actively engaged, and really, you can see it in their faces. They're really happy to be using that center and taking advantage of the programs there. So what I want to say is I concur with the gentleman over here that your health is your wealth. I don't think that we should be cutting money for the parks or for the senior center. As Mr. Chapchin said,